The Wheel of Time, Season 2, Episode 8, the season finale. There was a lot here. And it was mostly good. They took a huge swing here. They probably spent the majority of their budget on this one episode. They did quite a lot. It was just action nonstop. And as far as entertainment value, this was peak, peak entertainment here in episode 16 so far that we've seen in the Wheel of Time TV show.
This is Fantology.
You may have heard of us.
So as far as actual quality, is very entertaining, but there were a few things that I didn't like as much. There were a few things that didn't really make sense, and I felt like kind of broke the rules, not only of the books, certainly, but also that they'd set up in the TV show, so it kind of took me out of it for a little bit on a few things. I'll get into that. But it was mostly good. They took a huge swing here, like I said, and it was, if not a home run, a double or a triple. This is definitely, moving the show in the right direction. I'm very excited for season 3. I'm happy with where they landed after, I think, a shaky start to season 2. Season 1 was shaky kind of throughout. Season 2, I just didn't like the decision to split everyone up, but I'm glad that they all came together. And I think the best moments were when they were together. Maybe that's a payoff from when they were not, when they were apart. But I think once we got more into actual book events, it really solidified. That might be because I'm a book reader and I love with the story that I already know. But I do think the quality and the story and just everything made more sense when they were following the script. Yeah, I would like to see that more in the future. But all in all, obviously a very difficult property to adapt, huge sprawling world, lots of characters, etc. And I think they're doing a decent above average job, and it really culminated here with a solid season finale. And if we're talking big picture, I think one thing that the show's done really well is now it kind of has an identity of its own. It's not Lord of the Rings, it's not Game of Thrones, it's not any of the other many different fantasy properties that you can throw out there. And that's tough because these are beloved things that people obviously want to compare to. But at this point, it is the Wheel of Time. It is its separate thing. It's colorful, it's bright, it's vibrant, it's got a lot of characters, and it's clearly not trying to copy any of the other shows that I just mentioned. I think it's a good thing at this point. It took a while to establish, and unfortunately, I feel like part of the identity of the show is a little bit of this forced drama cheesiness that's kind of part of what they're going for. And honestly, that's a lot of what's in the books. Sorry if you're, a book purist and just love everything. I didn't love everything in the books. I really loved the series, but there's a lot of, miscommunication and drama and teen angst, etc. on these characters. And they're, translating a lot of that into the show. Not my favorite thing because I think it kind of, takes away from the high stakes thing that's going on here. But they're doing a decent job of really capturing the spirit of the books, I'll say. Especially with the Forsaken and the idea of lots of different shades of evil and our characters growing up, coming of age. They're doing a pretty good job overall. Now, specifically in this episode, season finale, episode 8, what did I like? So top thing was the battle looked cool. This was what I wanted to see the entire season. I wanted to feel like the stakes were high. I wanted to feel like the scope was big. And even though, it was a pretty zoomed in look at a battle amongst the streets of Falma, I think they did a good job of making it seem like it was bigger than it was. The White Cloak inclusion of the battle really helped here. Egwene giving us the view of the Shan-Chan, the Forsaken kind of meddling around. It had everything that we'd want. Maybe down the road we can get, big epic shots of two big armies, but we're not there yet. I think we're going to need a bigger budget to make that seem really good. And at this point in the show, I think this was the conflict that we needed to see. So excellent job there. I really liked that all the characters were active, had something to do, were making choices. A little bit of a complaint was Lan's character throughout the season. Matt didn't really have anything to do, but they did in this episode. Everyone was doing something, so that was well done. Specifically, I really enjoyed Matt's part, and I felt like this was a payoff for some, kind of boring, questionable ways that they did his plot throughout the season, because it was basically just in a room for most of the plot, but now he wasn't, and that was great. And I think there was a nice payoff where we saw this really embattled, depressed character, just the joy on his face after blowing the horn and kind of aligning with the heroes. That was very well done. I like that they brought in the Ashendari, I think that's how you say it. And although that does seem like they're maybe going to be taking some a big plot point away from the future seasons. If you've read the books, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not happy about that if that's the way they're going, but it was fun to see the Ashendari, even though it was kind of like a shard spear from Stormlight Archive with the power that they have now. Interesting way to incorporate the dagger. We'll see what happens there because, you know, that corrupting influence is still near Matt. Perrin's part was great, especially with Hopper and the Bornhalds, and Perrin just going crazy on Jeffram, I think is the father's name, and then Dane, you know, he kind of had this like understanding with Two Rivers and now he hates him, and that's some really nice setup. I think this is maybe even done better than the book. In the book, you know, Perrin goes crazy on the White Cloaks in the first book, and then it's kind of this lingering thing throughout. It doesn't, and I never really got the sense like, why is this so serious? You know, these are just kind of minor White Cloaks, and this, I get it, you know, you don't want to be murdering White Cloaks and they're going to take that personally, but now we have Perrin actually killing one of the leaders. I think is he the Lord Captain Commander? I don't remember what his exact rank is, but this is huge and I think is really going to up the stakes of the Perrin conflict with the White Cloaks, and I really hope they do something in season 3. You know, book 4 was a big Perrin book. He had a lot going on for him, and honestly, up until this point, he has not had a whole lot of things to do. He hasn't been a very active character, and so I'm really looking forward to where they take his character here. Bringing the Forsaken was cool. I like that they had the little hint with Ishamael walking in, kind of dusting off his hands, and I think most people probably picked up on that right away, like, oh, he probably just, you know, did something, right? And he obviously broke the seals and let them all out. So excited for that. I'm guessing we have Mogideon and Grendel. I think they were explicitly named. Samael was named in like the 3,000 years ago cold open, and then I don't know, Bilal, maybe Robin, probably for sure, and definitely Demon Dread. So looking forward to all of their actions. And Mogideon, you know, in her brief moments here at the very end was awesome and really kind of adds a different layer to the Forsaken. I really hope they continue, you know, the idea that some characters die and it's not like a capital D, and if you know what I'm talking about, I really hope they bring that back, especially with the Forsaken. Also really enjoyed the heron mark on Rand's palm. That was a nice touch. It looked good. I think that was, you know, there were some things that didn't look great. I'll get into that in a minute, but the heron mark looked cool, and that whole resolution was nice. And then everyone together at the top of the tower, well, maybe a little bit cheesy, really kind of signals, you know, these are the next heroes, right? We blew the horn, all those heroes appeared, now here's our next round of heroes. And that was, you know, that was well done. It wasn't too, I mean, it was kind of on the nose, but it wasn't like obnoxiously in your face, these are the heroes. It was, there was at least a little bit of subtlety, and I think the show's really been lacking that, so I appreciated that. I enjoyed that part. There were a few cheesy things, and that doesn't mean that they were bad. It just means that I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit, but like I said, sometimes that is the brand of Wheel of Time. I didn't really like the rebonding thing because I was just confused. Why is this necessary? Obviously, you know, Moraine was never actually stilled, so she should not have to reform the bond with Lan, and it should not be this like big kind of erotic almost little thing that was going on. I didn't love that, but I guess, you know, a visual thing for people who haven't read the books, it's fine. Loyal's speech where he's like, you are the next heroes, you know, I just mentioned that. I thought that speech, I don't know, took me out a little bit because it was just very cheesy. That was maybe the cheesiest thing in the whole episode, but you know, it's kind of Loyal. That's something he would say, so I was okay with it. The CGI dragon did not look good. I mean, if you thought it looked good, let me know why. I thought it looked pretty bad. It's kind of on the level of like The Witcher CGI. I think the idea of it was cool, but the execution, I mean, obviously they needed more work to make that thing look good. The horn itself, I think a lot of people are making fun of this. The horn did not look good. The box looked good, but once they pulled the horn out, it looked kind of weird. I don't know, like weirdly shaped, too shiny, almost didn't look real. I don't know what the deal is with the horn. They've done a good job with all the other props and costumes, but that one needed more work. The Rand Elaine, like a couple seconds where Elaine was healing him and he looks up and he says, "Who are you?" And she says, "Elaine." Oh gosh, I mean, looking forward to that a lot. Not my favorite romance in the books, and so here we go, already laying it on thick. Oof. The cheesiest thing that I actually really, really liked was Uno being a hero of the Horn. That was a nice touch, and you know, a nice little tribute to a fan favorite character that they killed off pretty early on in the season. He was fun. He brought some comedy to it, And I guess Perrin now has a magic shield from Uno. So, okay, we'll see what this is going to be about. They do a lot of slow motion. Like every fight scene, they have an extended slow motion shot. And there was no exception in this episode where there was that moment where they kind of did slow-mo to everyone as they were all locked in their different battles. And I have not liked how that's looked throughout. I have not liked how they did the slow motion at all. I think it just makes it seem kind of cheesy and YA, and the conflicts don't seem as serious when all of a sudden we're slowing down. Not a fan of the way they're doing that. Things that were just straight up bad that I really actively did not like, there were not a lot, so that's good. The main two were Turok and Ingtar. I feel like both of these characters did not get enough time to develop. Their deaths were supposed to feel impactful, but instead felt like nothing because they happened so quickly. They did not do the twist on Ingtar at all that I thought really made his death impactful in the books. And then Turok just, like, Rand shows up and just kills him. I mean, and this kind of gets into the other thing that I didn't like was I felt like there was just massive power level ups throughout, especially with Egwene and Rand. These characters are now incredibly strong, where they hold off a Forsaken and kill one. I mean, they are working together, but still, we have not seen many like training montages. I mean, we don't always love training montages, but I just feel like, why am I supposed to believe that these characters are as strong as they currently are? It makes no sense. Did not like the way that they did that. One thing that I wanted to see right at the end of the episode, I wanted to see Swan under compulsion. I really liked that theory. I thought it would have made up for a lot of the strangeness that was going on in episode 7. Didn't happen. Maybe they'll add it into season 3 if enough people, sign the petition. But I think it would really explain Swan's weird character and the things in episode 7 that I didn't like, but we didn't see it. A few things that didn't make sense to me, so let me know if you can explain them or if this is an actual gap in what I saw. So why were they able to do the long-range shielding on the boat? That seemed a little strange. Why would you choose the boat to be your staging point for this shielding? And are they really able to do that? Like, they can't even see him up there, and they throw out these weaves. I don't know. I don't really buy that. I mean, in the books, I think that's iffy at best, and here in the TV show, we have not seen anyone able to do that before, so that was strange. And then it felt even more strange that Lanfear would have anticipated that Rand would be up there and Ishamael would have sent his team out to shield him from the boat, which, I mean, to me is already a strange place to be. And so Lanfear, anticipating this, sends Moraine and Land out on the beach where they're going to walk up and be able to break the shielding from the boat. And furthermore, I also don't understand, why was Moraine able to do this? Because this is a violation of the Three Oaths. She was not under duress. Her warder was not. There were no other Aes Sedai that were being attacked. It was just Rand. So she can't do this, right? Like, she should not be able to do this as an Aes Sedai, having sworn the Three Oaths, to use the power as a weapon. I don't understand why this worked. Please explain if I'm wrong here. Another minor thing that someone pointed out was Lan had the really cool moment where he caught the arrow out of the air in that fight, but where did the archer go? Why did he just fire one arrow? Did he fire one? He was so impressed by Lan being able to catch the arrow that he dropped his bow and ran away. Like, how does this work? It seems like that archer, maybe Moraine could have taken care of him really quick, or that seems like an easy thing they could have remedied, but instead it was just this odd arrow that flies in from nowhere and there's no follow-up. I would also like to know if Sorath is dead. I think that would be a pretty big deal, but we'll find out. I guess she could have swum for it. I don't know. And then the final thing that didn't make sense to me was the whole Egwene Adam on Rena. I feel like from what we know from the TV show where we saw her repeatedly try to pick up the pitcher of water and harm Rena, why would she be able to pick up the Adam and put it onto Rena? That's clearly something that is going to cause harm to her Soldam. Why isn't she now able to do this? Did not understand that. It was cool. I'm glad that Egwene was able to, kind of do it herself. That was nice that she didn't have to have Rand come in and save her. But according to the rules that we've set up in the show, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, if you have an explanation for any of these things, if I'm just way off, let me know. Overall, though, I think I maybe harped too much on things I didn't like. I really did enjoy this episode, and I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Overall, season 2 is 7.5, 7 out of 10. There were a few episodes that I didn't like as much. Episode 6 and episode 8 were obviously the two best ones. They were very different types of episodes, so I don't know which one I liked more. I think episode 6 was like a better story, but episode 8 was by far the most excitement that we've seen in the Wheel of Time. So hopefully people are liking it. Hopefully we're getting some views. Rafe said that, the writer's strike and the actor's strike is going to affect their viewership numbers, but we're already renewed for season 3. So if we continue to kind of ride our little bit of momentum here, I think we're seeing a lot of positive reviews for season 2. Let's keep on going with the TV show. I'm enjoying it. It's not perfect, but I am enjoying it.